Hello everyone, welcome back to Wednesday's video here at Bareham Engines. Right guys, first things first, this Cosworth over here, Elliot's Cosworth, you can see we're pretty much got this thing back together now guys, although it's upside down. Got the new crank in, all balanced, the rods are balanced, sized, checked all the running clearance, perfect. Cylinder heads on, cams are in, we got standard cams here but with vernier pulleys, so I'm going to set those up to the standard timing. I am waiting for a couple of bits from Burton Power, just had an oil pump delivered. Now as you can see in the base here, I've done the long studs, the 6 long studs on this, and also put the BMW oil jets in the base there, so you can see that I've got those all lined up nicely. Done me cutouts for the clearance on the spray jets at the base of the piston, so they're all lined up in, torqued up, perfect. Oil pump, just waiting for a bunch of oil pump dowels so I can stick that oil pump on. Now the pickup on these, because what they call this the WRC oil pump. It's basically a plain oil pump with a plain cap on it, because you don't need to run the spray jets for the two-wheel drive. But the best thing to do now, because these are getting quite valuable, what I tend to do is where this spray jet goes into the cap there, I tend to just bend that out of the way and then use that pipe. These are still in it, but they're just surplus, and then we can just use that pipe on this oil pump, and it's a plain high pressure oil pump. The difference is about, these are about 70 quid as opposed to about 150 quid. So it almost counteracts the labour for inserting these oil jets, and obviously it's more of an efficient oil spray jet. You can point it down at the base of the piston as opposed to just in the general direction like the original spray bar. So that's where we are with this guys. Now as soon as they arrive, we can get that oil pump on, get the gaskets on, time this up, rocker cover on, and it's all done. Elliot can have this thing back, so hopefully Friday, might be Monday now, but that one's gone. Over here, Wayne Greatrix's. So this one over here is the Nissan 280Z cylinder head. We've gone through, cut the valves, cut the seats, blasted that. If you'd seen that when it come in, it looked, well, I think it had been sitting in a garden for God knows how long, so that is looking like new now. We've removed 1 millimetre off the cylinder head, and that takes the compression up to 10.7 to 1, which you already wanted, as opposed to the 9.7 standard. We've welded up quite a lot of the waterways, you can see that. Just bear with me. You can see that there. I'm going to leave that for Wayne to titivate those waterways how exactly he wants them. But yeah, cut the seats. The guides are all perfect in that actually, so I suspect it's had guides at some point. Inlet valves we've faced, exhaust valves he's had to renew. He's got those coming from Japan, £11 each delivered, which I thought was quite cheap. The Fiat, we finally got the set of bearings guys to make up a good set of mains on this. Done all the clearances, torqued everything up. This one is all done, and as you can see, boxed up and on a pallet. As soon as the chap has paid for that, we'll get that on its way. But yeah, the Fiat, nice to see that out the bloody way. You can see over here the amount of mains that we've got left over that are all 10 thou, which obviously we didn't want. So this is sort of three sets of shells worth of plus 10s when they're meant to be standard. So absolute blooming nightmare that is. Been going on for several weeks, but at least it's out the way, guys. So next for me, Isaac is on the Subaru today. We've got to get this one done in the next week or so. Got all the bits now. Crankcases are all done. He's just finishing off the cylinder heads. And then I'm going to head over here. There's his Subaru, look. We'll have that in the second channel, guys. See how he's getting on with that. I think he's been fairly fussy with it, but it's going to be a good motor when it's done. So I'm going to crack on with this one. This is just a basic short motor build for the Honda. Just to recap, this was a Honda 1800 block. I think he had a disaster on the old block, so we've had to renew the block, rebore it to 0.5 to fit the old pistons, which are mint, but we've just got a nice new set of rings to go on there. Competition King bearings, do our usual clearances, etc. And then we can just get that one finished in the next day or so, guys, and that is another one off the stand. Then I think as soon as I finish that, I'm going to be cracking on with this Cosworth, guys. So this one, which I've started stripping now, is fairly grotty. I've started blasting bits like the inlet manifold, which I've took to bits. Just everything's horrible on it. So we'll get this one all cleaned up. It's a nice spec. I've measured the inlet ports to start with. We've got 26 mil on the inlet ports, so it's been nice and ported at some point. So this is a big port head. You can run massive power through these things, providing that the exhaust is the same. But I'm just in the process of getting out these horrible nuts and studs. A couple of them are snapped, and the majority of these nuts were loose, and you can tell that because all this black round here, you can see the manifold's been blown for some time, so it's probably been running a bit inefficiently on the turbo and just blowing gases straight out the manifold. And you can see there it's gone all black on the head. So let's get this one apart then, guys, and see what horrors we got inside. So you lovely lot, few updates for the ongoing sort of saga with the court hearing, few bits and bobs with the running of the place. So first of all, on a positive note, it seems to be fairly successful ending everyone's credit account. So yeah, what I've been doing is throwing emails out to everyone that's sent jobs in, all the people that I can think, the usual sort of suspects. I threw out emails the end of last month, beginning of this month, saying very, very sorry, nothing personal, but we're just stopping the credit accounts because it's a pain in the bum, basically, chasing money. And obviously the majority of our work now is the big engines and stuff like that, which people sort of, the punters pay as they collect, etc. So that's been pretty good. Had a couple of moans, and surprisingly, it's from the main dealers. Now these are the people that we're obviously small fry to, play us up, and to be honest, they are probably on the quiet. They are the ones that's caused me to end the credit accounts. Just can't be bothered to chase money left, right and centre. And a perfect example of why that is we had we had a main dealer brought a part in here that we're collecting today. So I've rang the accounts department and said, look, you've got one outstanding invoice plus this one. I have sent an email the beginning of the month saying that we're stopping the credit accounts. I've sent it to the 3 emails, not just the one, the 3 emails I've got where I send invoice and statements to, but I've had no response. So I'm assuming you're aware that we are stopping the credit account and you've got to pay before you collect the job. He knew nothing about it. He said, can you email me? And I said, well, what about the 3 that I've emailed? If you email me, I can forward that on and get that paid. I said, well, just bear in mind, your people, your service department want to pick this piece up today, so it needs to be paid. Yeah, right, you are. About an hour later, I had a phone call from the service manager, not too pleased. Why are we on stop? We said, you're not on stop, it's just that we're stopping credit accounts. We do apologise, nothing personal, blah, blah, blah. I'll make sure that gets paid. I mean, you're talking about main dealers here that if we ever buy parts from their part department, they want card over the phone. Why can't they just give me a card over the phone? It ain't difficult. But yeah, anyway, we'll get there in the end, guys. Apart from that, everyone said, to be honest with you, I don't blame you. This day and age, it's a nightmare. So that's that. Secondly, I have had an email from the court, obviously regarding the MGB. They wanted me to respond. I have responded, and they sort of give me 3 options. Do I accept liability? Do I partly accept liability? Or do I not? And of course I've said I do not. So what they're saying is that in the description that they're saying basically our workmanship is not up to standard. It was poor quality, etc. I mean, if it was poor quality, they wouldn't have paid the first invoice. And what I have stated in my description, the reason to what I am not paying is because we believe that when we had the vehicle back here, the reason was for the smoking was the PCV, etc. Went into a little bit explaining the PCV. Now, I know the courts are completely clueless about things like this, so it's difficult. I've tried to keep it in as simple terms as I can. I said the part that my feeling is we've rectified the issue free of charge to keep the customer happy, whereas we could have charged. But the garage that was in sort of dealing with it, that put the engine in the vehicle, my feeling is the reason why he was, one, aggressive, and two, flew off the handle and rude, was because he realised that he probably should have replaced that PCV before he went about whipping the engine out in the first place. So so that was that, guys. So yeah, as I say, I'll have to keep you updated where that goes. I mean, a few of you said in the last video I mentioned about this that you'll be glad when it's all over and you can't wait to see what the ending's like. You and me both. I mean, it's going on and on, but there we go. And thirdly, guys, just I did have an email, surprisingly, off the main dealer that we supplied the new head for, that to do with the injector sleeves, etc. Now, when I mentioned this in a video previously, I did notice one comment in particular, and it was from someone that was involved in law, etc. And they said, I know exactly what they're doing here. Now, I'm not saying that this is what they've done or whatever, but what he suggested that they potentially could have been doing was they've had the vehicle back, obviously for rectification, warranty issues, whatever, to do with these injector sleeves, whoever didn't fit them. And they have obviously accumulated a bill of about £1,000. They're passing that bill on to somebody else, i.e. us, knowing full well that bill isn't going to get paid. Then they can write that bill off against tax. I don't know, is that a thing? Is that what you do? That's what someone suggested, not saying that's what they've done, but it's interesting. And he did say that you will be getting an email. They've got no intention of going to court. You'll be getting an email stating that they're going no further with it. Sure enough, yesterday got an email stating exactly that. Not until they spent a good so much of the email like that slagging us off, saying that the when this company used to be Barham Engineering, it was far superior quality of work than it is now under Barham Engines. Well, that's funny because it's the same people out there doing the work. All it is we just take less nonsense off people like them. And whether they mean that the substandard of quality of work was anything to do with the previous job, not quite sure how they worked that out, because we supplied a brand new head, nothing else. So where's the quality of work in supplying a brand new head? I don't know. But yeah, I think it was just a way of them having a little dig before they told us that they're going to be taking it no further and wasting any more money. So that's an end to that one, guys. Sure enough, we will not be dealing with that dealership ever again. They've kicked themselves in the teeth, really, because there's nowhere around here that does anything like we do. So if they did need anything, on you get down the motorway. And that is it. That's it for a minute, guys. Update done. Took half the video. Sorry about that, but at least you know where we are at the moment. Let's go and have a look, see what Isaac's doing round the corner here. All right, mate.
Yeah, just about.
What are you doing?
Mullering things.
In what respect?
Well, I've mullered this.
What is it?
It's an oil gallery plug.
Never mind. Got to come out though.
Got to come out. Got to get cleaned.
Do have them.
For some reason, they're just massively tight on these, and they just like to round off. So they're only
Nice.
about a 5mm Allen thing.
Yeah, they are tight, some of these though. They're tight in the bloody cozzies. Unless you've got a brand new Allen key, it ain't coming out.
No.
Never mind, mate. But like I say, you've got to take the oil gallery plugs out.
Yeah.
But apart from that, all done. Done the clearances?
Done the clearances on both.
Were they far out?
Not hugely.
No.
They're a bit weird, really, because I don't really get how it would have been running all right with the way they were, because it was sort of, you know,
Didn't you say you had big?
here and there.
Didn't you say you had big clearances on the exhaust?
I did, but that was the buckets must have got swapped round by the exhaust on the inlets, so
I see.
I switched them back over, and it was a lot closer.
So
I just did it off the stems and the faces.
yeah, easy way when it's on the bench, isn't it?
Yeah.
So these are pretty much done now.
Yeah. I've
So
just
next
put
week-
this one back together and recheck the clearances.
Yeah.
Because I did that on this one earlier, check the clearances again. Once I put the cams and everything in.
Yeah.
And it's sort of, on one or two of them, it tightened up a little bit again.
Great.
So I had to whip 2 valves out and sort them, but it's
Never
worth
mind.
checking.
It is worth checking. It's worth spending the extra time.
Yeah.
But that's where some people don't realise how much time it takes doing these blooming clearances.
Yeah, it does take a while.
And it's very important.
I only do that, or did that with this, because I've read in like some of the Subaru forums that it's difficult to get the clearances right. And it seems to change every time you do something, when you put the cams in, when you...
Yeah, I've had it before with these, yeah.
So,
oh well, we're getting there, mate. And hopefully next week we can crack on with building it between us. Get this thing out the door, innit? Let's get the man married in it. Well done, mate. You get in there.
Get in there.
Well, thanks very much for watching, guys. Until Friday, have a good evening.